Breakups are never easy, but for women, they often carry a deeper emotional journey that goes far beyond sadness. It's not just about losing a person, it's about losing the connection, the dreams, and sometimes even the version of themselves they built in that relationship. When a woman goes through a breakup, she often experiences an intense mix of emotions: pain, confusion, anger, and self reflection, all rolled into one. When a woman experiences a breakup, the first wave that hits her is emotional turmoil, an overwhelming storm of feelings that seem impossible to control. This stage is marked by confusion, sadness, and disbelief. It's not just about losing a partner, but losing a part of her daily routine, her emotional support, and her sense of stability. The mind keeps replaying moments shared together, trying to make sense of what went wrong, while the heart struggles to accept the reality that the relationship has ended. Every message, photograph, or place associated with the person becomes a painful reminder, and she feels trapped between wanting to forget and not being able to let go. This emotional chaos often leaves her feeling drained and unbalanced. One moment she may feel angry, blaming her partner for causing the pain, and the next she may feel guilty, wondering if she could have done something differently. The constant switch between emotions makes it difficult to focus on anything else. Her appetite, sleep, and daily motivation might suffer as her mind becomes consumed with heartbreak. Friends and family may try to comfort her, but deep down she knows that healing is something she must face on her own, at her own pace. During this phase, her emotions may also reflect her attachment to the relationship. If she invested her heart deeply, she may feel an intense sense of emptiness, as if a part of her identity has been taken away. The bond she once shared becomes a haunting memory that follows her everywhere. She may find herself questioning the meaning of love, doubting whether she will ever feel the same way again. These thoughts can lead to isolation, as she may prefer solitude over social interaction, needing space to process everything that has happened. Yet amidst all this emotional struggle, the turmoil also signifies how deeply she loved and how much she cared. Every tear, every sleepless night, and every thought replayed in her mind is evidence of her emotional depth. Though she feels shattered in the moment, this storm of emotions is a necessary part of healing. It allows her to confront the pain head on, to feel everything she once suppressed, and to slowly begin the process of letting go. The emotional turmoil, though painful, is the foundation upon which her strength will later be built. The heartbreak stage is often the most painful and emotionally draining period after a breakup. It's the moment when the reality of separation truly begins to sink in. For many women, this stage feels like an emotional collapse, a heavy weight pressing on the heart that seems impossible to lift. She might find herself crying unexpectedly, feeling waves of sadness that come without warning. The world seems quieter, emptier, and less colorful than before. Simple activities that once brought joy now feel meaningless, because everything reminds her of what she has lost. The emotional bond that once filled her life with happiness is suddenly replaced by silence, and this void is what makes the heartbreak so unbearable. During this stage, memories become both a source of comfort and pain. She replays moments in her head: the laughter, the small gestures of love, the promises whispered in confidence. But those same memories that once made her smile now pierce her heart like a knife. Every song, every place they visited together, and every item that reminds her of him becomes a trigger. Her mind constantly drifts back to the relationship, trying to find closure or understanding where none exists. This emotional replay can make her feel stuck, as if she is living in the past while the world continues to move forward without her. The heartbreak also manifests physically. Sleepless nights, loss of appetite, and exhaustion become common companions during this stage. Her body reacts to the emotional pain just as strongly as her mind does. Some days she might feel too weak to face the world, finding comfort only in solitude. It's not uncommon for her to isolate herself, choosing silence over conversations she's not ready to have. People around her might encourage her to move on, but she knows that healing can't be rushed. Each tear she sheds is part of the process, a small release of the pain that is built up inside. In the depths of heartbreak, her emotions are raw and unfiltered. She may write, cry, or express her pain in ways she never has before. Every part of her being feels the loss, her heart, her mind, and even her soul. But this stage, as painful as it is, allows her to face her vulnerability and understand the depth of her love. It is a necessary step toward healing, for it is only when she fully feels her heartbreak that she can begin to recover from it. So the heartbreak settles in, a new emotional struggle often begins, one rooted in self-doubt and insecurity. This stage can be even more painful because it turns the focus inward. Many women start to question themselves, wondering if they were the reason the relationship failed. Thoughts like, was I not enough? Or could I have done something differently? Constantly echo in their minds. These feelings are not just about the breakup itself, but about the loss of self-confidence that often follows. When someone she deeply loved chooses to walk away, it can feel like rejection not only of the relationship, but of her entire identity. This emotional self-questioning can affect every part of her life. She may start comparing herself to others, to her ex's new partner, to friends who seem happy in relationships, or even to the idealized version of herself that she wishes she could be. Social media often amplifies these insecurities, making her feel like everyone else is moving on while she remains stuck in pain. She might overanalyze her looks, her behavior, and her choices, believing that if she had been better, in some way things might have turned out differently. This constant self-criticism creates a heavy emotional burden, making it harder for her to heal or see her own worth clearly. During this period, her confidence may drop to its lowest point. She might hesitate to meet new people, fearing rejection or another heartbreak. Her trust in love and in herself begins to weaken. Simple compliments or reassurances from friends may feel hollow because deep inside she no longer believes in her own value. The breakup has shaken her sense of security, leaving her unsure of what she truly deserves. Every time she looks in the mirror, she might not see the strong, beautiful person she once knew, only the reflection of someone who feels broken and uncertain. However, these feelings of insecurity, while painful, are also a sign of emotional depth. They show that she is introspective and capable of caring deeply. Through these doubts, she begins to explore who she really is and what she truly needs in life. Even though she may feel fragile, this self-reflection eventually becomes a turning point. It's through facing these insecurities that she starts the journey toward rediscovering her strength and realizing that her worth was never defined by anyone else's love or approval. As time begins to pass, the intense waves of emotion slowly start to calm, and a woman begins to reach a phase of realization and acceptance. This stage does not happen overnight. It is the result of countless moments of reflection, tears, and quiet understanding. At first, she might still feel pain when she thinks about her past relationships, but she starts to see things more clearly. She begins to recognize that not every love story is meant to last forever, and sometimes people come into our lives only to teach us lessons, not to stay. This realization can be bittersweet. It hurts to accept the end, but it also brings a sense of emotional clarity that begins to lighten her heart. In this stage, she starts to view the relationship from a different perspective. Instead of constantly replaying the happy memories or blaming herself for what went wrong, she begins to see the reality of the situation. She notices the signs she once ignored, the differences that were too great to overcome, and the moments where love alone wasn't enough. Acceptance does not mean that she stops caring. It means that she finally understands that holding on to something that's no longer healthy only prolongs her pain. This is the moment she begins to forgive not just her ex-partner, but also herself for expecting perfection in an imperfect world. The realization stage is often accompanied by deep emotional growth. She learns that it's okay to let go of something that once meant everything to her. The tears that once symbolized heartbreak now become signs of strength. Each day, she feels a little lighter, a little freer from the weight of what used to be. She no longer wakes up thinking about what she lost, but rather about what she can become. She understands that the end of one chapter is not the end of her story, it's the beginning of something new. A phase where she is no longer defined by her relationship, but by her resilience and self-awareness. Acceptance allows her to finally find peace within herself. She may still remember her past, but it no longer controls her emotions. She can look back without bitterness, knowing that every experience, even the painful ones, contributed to her growth. The realization that love doesn't always have to last to be meaningful brings her a deep sense of maturity. She begins to accept that endings can also be beautiful because they make way for new beginning. This quiet acceptance marked the turning point in her healing as she learns to live not in the shadow of her past, but in the light of her newfound understanding. The healing process after a breakup is often slow, unpredictable, and deeply personal. It begins when a woman finally allows herself to feel not just the pain, but the quiet moments of relief that come in between. Healing doesn't mean forgetting the relationship or pretending it never mattered. It means learning how to live again without the emotional dependency that once defined her days. At first, even small acts like getting out of bed, smiling at a friend, or engaging in daily routines can feel like victories. Each step, no matter how small, brings her closer to emotional recovery. She starts to realize that healing is not linear. Some days will feel easier, while others will bring unexpected waves of sadness. But slowly she learns to navigate those feelings with patience and strength. As she moves further into the healing process, she begins to rediscover the beauty of solitude. The silence that once felt unbearable now becomes peaceful. She learns to enjoy her own company, spending time doing things she loves without needing validation from anyone else. This period allows her to reconnect with herself, the person she may have lost while being deeply invested in her relationship. She might start journaling, meditating, traveling, or simply spending time in nature, all of which help her find clarity. These quiet moments of self-reflection become her safe space, where she learns to listen to her own heart again without the noise of the past. Gradually, she begins to rebuild her emotional strength. The pain that once consumed her starts to fade, replaced by a sense of resilience. She learns to manage her emotions better, no longer letting heartbreak dictate her mood or her choices. She may start to open up to friends again, laugh without guilt, and even talk about her past without tears. Through this process, she discovers that healing isn't about erasing memories, it's about transforming them into lessons. Every moment of heartbreak becomes a stepping stone toward wisdom, teaching her patience, understanding, and compassion. Eventually, she recognizes how far she has come. The wounds that once felt raw begin to close, leaving behind scars that no longer hurt but remind her of her strength. The healing process teaches her that she is capable of standing on her own, that her happiness is not tied to another person but is something she can create within herself. Through pain, she learns peace. Through loss, she finds freedom. The journey of healing shapes her into someone more grounded, more self-aware, and more emotionally balanced than ever before. After enduring the pain and confusion of heartbreak, a woman eventually enters a powerful phase, the rediscovery of her identity. This is the moment when she begins to remember who she truly is beyond the relationship, beyond the heartbreak, and beyond the person she became while loving someone else. During a relationship, it's common for people to merge parts of their identity with their partners. Shared dreams, routines, and habits become part of daily life. But after the breakup, she starts to separate herself from those shared experiences and reconnect with her individuality. She begins to ask herself meaningful questions like, what makes me happy? And who am I when I'm not trying to please anyone else? This process becomes a journey of self-awareness and renewal. As she rediscovers herself, she often turns toward activities and passions that she may have neglected. The hobbies she once loved, painting, reading, writing, or traveling, begin to fill her time again. Each rediscovered interest brings her closer to her authentic self, reminding her that she has always been complete on her own. She starts to invest her energy in self-improvement, learning new skills or setting new goals that are entirely her own. This is also when she becomes more confident in making decisions without seeking approval or reassurance. The independence that was once frightening now feels liberating, and she starts to enjoy her freedom rather than fearing loneliness. Through this rediscovery, she also reevaluates her values and priorities. The breakup allows her to see what truly matters to her, the kind of love she deserves, the friendships she values, and the peace she wants to maintain in her life. She begins to understand her emotional boundaries more clearly, realizing that she should never lose herself in loving someone again. The process teaches her balance, how to give love without sacrificing her identity. She learns that being alone doesn't mean being incomplete. It means having the strength to stand on her own while still being open to love when the right time comes. This stage is often empowering because it allows her to rebuild her life on her own terms. She feels more grounded and self-assured than before, no longer seeking validation from others. The woman who once doubted her worth now walks with confidence, knowing who she is and what she stands for. The rediscovery of her identity becomes a celebration of self, a reminder that while love can be beautiful, self-love is essential. Every new day feels like a chance to become more authentic, more independent, and more aligned with her true purpose. When a woman reaches the stage of strength and empowerment after a breakup, it marks a remarkable transformation. The moment when pain turns into purpose. The tears, heartbreak, and emotional struggles she once endured slowly evolve into lessons that make her stronger than ever before. She begins to realize that everything she went through, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt, has shaped her into a more resilient person. The vulnerability that once made her feel weak now becomes a source of power, because she understands that surviving heartbreak requires immense courage. She is no longer the same person who once cried over lost love. She is wiser, calmer, and emotionally stronger. This newfound strength isn't loud or boastful. It's quiet, grounded, and deeply rooted in self-awareness. She learns to depend on herself emotionally and mentally, knowing that her happiness doesn't come from another person, but from within. She becomes more selective about who she allows into her life, recognizing her worth and refusing to settle for less than she deserves. Instead of fearing loneliness, she embraces solitude, using it as a space for reflection and growth. This empowerment allows her to create boundaries that protect her peace and emotional well-being, something she may have neglected before. As she steps into this stronger version of herself, her perspective on love and life changes completely. She no longer views relationships as a source of validation, but as a partnership between two whole individuals. Her self-confidence begins to shine through everything she does, in her career, friendships, and personal ambitions. She feels motivated to chase her dreams without hesitation, proving to herself that she is capable of achieving anything, even without the presence of someone else by her side. Every challenge she once thought would break her now becomes proof of how far she's come and how much she's grown. Empowerment for her is not about revenge or proving a point to anyone. It's about reclaiming her peace and rediscovering her strength. She learns to love herself in ways she never did before, nurturing her body, mind, and spirit. The same heart that was once shattered now beats stronger, filled with determination and self-respect. This stage signifies her rebirth, not as someone defined by pain, but as a woman who transformed that pain into power. Through it all, she emerges not as a victim of heartbreak, but as a symbol of resilience, courage, and inner strength. In the end, the journey of a woman after a breakup is one of transformation, a passage from pain to power, from loss to self-discovery. What begins as heartbreak slowly becomes a process of healing, reflection, and growth. Through every tear and every sleepless night, she learns to rebuild herself piece by piece, discovering a strength she never knew she had. She realizes that her worth was never tied to another person's presence, but to her own resilience, compassion, and courage. As she moves forward, she carries with her the lessons learned: to love deeply but never lose herself, to give without expecting, and to walk away when peace is compromised. She becomes her own source of comfort, her own anchor in the storm. The woman who once felt broken now stands tall, wiser and stronger, ready to embrace life with renewed confidence. In her heart, she knows that love may come and go, but self-love remains forever. The end of one story becomes the beginning of another. A story where she is no longer defined by heartbreak, but by healing, hope, and the unwavering strength of a woman who found herself again.